Whenever you do a black and white conversion, whether you are in Lightroom and then doing the black and white conversion, or you might be in Photoshop and doing the black and white conversion, you should start with clean photograph that has color cast removed and the contrast is where you would like it to be. Never start with unadjusted image. Start with adjusted image and then start working from there. And adjust first. Yes. You should do that. So make sure that it looks good in color, then start converting so that you know what kind of potential, what kind of color you have in the photographs. If you have color cast, you may not see the potential colors that can be adjusted later on. Based on, so the adjustments that you will see, black and white conversion that you will see today is based on the color, the original color, like what you see in develop module of Lightroom as well too. This, when you are in Lightroom even, you will go into this black and white conversion, or you will use hue and saturation and lightness to do a black and white conversion, right? I mean, this tab is what you do to do a black and white conversion. That is based on the color that is living in the original picture. So you like to make the original picture clean and not color cast it. Okay? So, well, maybe this one, everyone probably have worked on this, but I'm gonna just quickly work on creating the virtual copy. So in Lightroom, if you like to do a black and white conversion, two methods. One method is to use the black and white, and then based on the black and white, you can just change all the colors in here too. It is very green, isn't it?
Actually, that's the green color adjusted one. These ones on the side are color.
Maybe you know why? Because this is so magenta, that maybe also. That your eyes are so adjusted to this color. And then when you start to go to black and white, it would like to see the opposite color. That is probably another one of my, oh no, this is, okay. This is, yes, I will take it back. This is, I know what it is. This is neutral now. The split toning was on.
Can you show me that?
So this is mine.
So in here,
Yeah.
my split toning was on completely to 100% for the highlights in the green areas. So if I change this,
What does split toning do again, please?
so basically it tones the color based on the highlights or the shadow informations. And if you start to put colors and highlights, it just basically, it looks like it's contamination right now, but you can put a little bit of the color to simulate the tone of, say, selenium toning or in the darkroom toning techniques.
So if you wanted to do a black and white photo and then add some sepia,
You can do
to
that
it,
too. Yeah,
do you do that with split toning?
yeah, I will. So let me just,
Split toning only applies to black and white images, or?
no, you can do it in color. And then that is what I was using this picture for. That's why it did the coloring.
Oh, it had
And then
radical split
I wasn't
toning
remembering. Yeah, right,
Okay.
right.
This
So
is how you, because I kind of lost the beginning
Yes,
of this.
yes,
This
yes.
Is how you
So
lost the green hue.
let me just come back to this one later on. Okay, so this was because of the split toning. Unknowingly, or I did it before, but I forgot if I did the split toning. So that's why that green cast looking showed up. But otherwise, if you click onto black and white, you can adjust the darkness or the lightness, the tone of each areas based on the original color of the picture. Like, for example, there are lots of oranges that we remember. So if you like to adjust some tonalities based on that orangey colors, then you basically move the orange slider to make it lighter or darker. His shirt was blue. So I'm going to go into black and white. And if you like to adjust the shirt color, then the blue slider will adjust it. So it's basically the black and white adjustment is based on the base color information of the photograph. This is one method, black and white. Now, the black and white, this method tends to introduce a noise. So another method in Lightroom is to go to Hue and Saturation and Lightness and desaturate everything. Desaturate everything. And then go into luminance level to adjust. And then that would have a less impact in terms of noise. So in Lightroom, this is probably the preferred method for me. So in Hue and Saturation, desaturate everything, and then adjust a luminance. In Lightroom.
Well, what about the black and white all the way at the top?
That is basically, if you click onto this one, that would use this black and white.
So
yeah.
okay.
Yeah. Okay. Then let me go back to split toning because there was some question about it. And this is all extra, actually. I wasn't really planning to do that, but you're gonna see it. So there are shadow and then highlight split toning. Let's start with looking at how the effect is like using the shadow highlight split toning. To see the effect, you just need to bring up the saturation level in certain height. Otherwise, if the saturation is 0, you don't see any color overlay. So I'm gonna just put it around 25 or 30 or somewhere around there so that we can see the color. And then the hue, you simply just see from red to yellow to cyan to purple to all the way to magenta. So this lays primarily on the highlights area, the light areas. Now, if you put a toning in the highlight area, it tends to look a bit color contaminated, color casted look to me. Let me just bring this one all the way to 0 saturation. Try with shadows split toning. I'm gonna bring that one up to same kind of 26. Now this time, the highlights are, yes, toned a bit, but not as much. It's more to the shadow informations. Instead of these. So if you like to do a toning, this is my recommendation. I'll start with shadow. Just put some color. And I'm gonna try to do a bit of the brownish, kind of sepia-ish kind of look. So the shadow, very, very subtle. And that could be it. Or if you like to have a little bit more of the tint on the highlight area, then just really a tiny bit. So start with shadow information and then put over a little bit of the color in the highlights. That's what I usually do.
And but you started with making it into a black and white photo first?
Yes. Yes. So if you like to do a toning afterwards.
Don't lots of people use complementary colors for their choice?
Not necessarily. I mean, if you like to, you can, but I don't really see those effects, the complementary colors later on to highlight and in shadows as an effect, though. Not necessarily. So what we're looking at here is trying to simulate the sepia toning, which is overall this darker, sometimes yellower brown, sometimes redder brown. That is one. Another one is a selenium toning. Selenium toning has, depending on the dilution, but more like a purplish shadows here. And then say, to simulate what Julie is saying, the complementary color, if you have a highlight a little bit warm tone, then the paper choice in the darkroom would be warm tone paper, and if you selenium tone it for the shadows, then the selenium toned area becomes a little more a purple. But this talk may not mean anything to those of you who are not in the darkroom, but if you have worked in a darkroom, you might understand it a little bit. But so what I'm doing here is to simulate what was once happening in the darkroom. That is what I'm trying to do. Another thing, you can try to do something more blue that is mimicking
But the highlights you keep
Is-
on the orange?
Sienna type printing. I can't really simulate the exact color though. The highlight looks orange, but it
I know
isn't.
it's zero saturation.
Yeah, it isn't right now. Yeah.
So you don't use the highlights, mostly the shadows for the.
For the Sienna type printing, yeah.
I'm not talking about the whole split toning.
The whole split toning, so I would start with shadow information, just a little, and then if you feel like you need to lay some colors on the highlight areas, I would, but it's just really a slight colors. Yeah. So that is what split toning does.
Oh, so
And then we are still in Lightroom, by the way.